Hey everyone, it's Gremmy. As a special video, I decided to ask you all on YouTube, Discord, Twitter and Blue Sky to submit questions for me to answer. Without further ado, here's my first ever Q&A. Our first question was from DSDSSDSD5952 and it was, what is your favourite food and drink? So in terms of drinks, I don't really drink alcohol, but my favourite soda is Cherry Pepsi Max, followed closely by Iron Brew, which, for those unfamiliar, is like this really nice, delicious Scottish soda. It's like a little bit bubblegum soda, a little bit cream soda. It's a very unique kind of taste to it that I can't really accurately describe, but I'd recommend checking it out. And in terms of like snacks, I adore chips and of all things, chocolate peanuts. Like literally I could eat chocolate peanuts forever. They are the most delicious thing in the world. Our next question here is, why actually such content? From Bartosz. Okay, so there are several ways that I could take this. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say it's not supposed to be a dig, but more of a kind of curious question as to why I make content. I started making videos because I like Feedism. I've been making like fat fetish games for a while, and while I enjoy making them, they take forever. And I'm not like great at art, so it takes a lot longer with that. I'm not great with kind of story stuff. So yeah, it takes a long time to get something I'm really happy with. I've always enjoyed those videos of like solo person talking to camera. So I've decided to, I guess, give it a go, and yeah, here we are. I guess I never thought it would be any good or that anybody would enjoy it. So I'm actually really glad you all do. Our next question here is from Josuke. It says, feedee or feeder? Also, sub or dommy? So I like to say I'm kind of a bit of a switch mutual gainer. I find myself getting fatter just so hot, but it's also hot to get someone else fat alongside you. I'd say I was a feedee, feeder and fat admirer, just all rolled into one. Our next question is, will we ever see you on TLC? Asked by obese Roxy Richter. Maybe one day. I don't know if they've ever done UK's Fattest Woman, so I guess I'm training for it. If there was one, who would you say your main inspiration for starting the audio work? From Blambo Schlim. So honestly, my inspirations come from other people's work. I really enjoy the work of SSBBW Emma, Summer Marshmallow, Goddess Freya, and of course, Ivy Davenport, all really incredible, gorgeous models within the Feedism community. I'd recommend you check them out, but I've definitely learnt a lot from seeing their videos, the way they do things. Admittedly, they do sort of IRL stuff, like on camera, which obviously I don't do, I'm just audio. But I think there's a lot of things that I can take from that and kind of techniques that I can learn and pick up on. What's your favourite video that you made? Asked by Official Lardass. So honestly, I think I have two that I'm most proud of. Firstly, Gym Gains, just because like I wrote the entire thing myself, like the whole story from scratch. It sat on my hard drive for at least 3 years, and I guess I never really thought people would be into it or that it was any good because it was like my first time writing a story. So I never published it. And then I guess 3 years on, I decided to edit up into a video, and I'm really happy with how it turned out in the end, and the reception it got is just overwhelming. So thank you all so much for supporting that video. The other video that I'd say I'm most proud of is Jigsaw's Trial. It was the first time writing a roleplay that was like fantasy or had fantasy elements, because most of my roleplays up to that point had been sort of completely grounded in reality, but also have a little bit of silly fun with it, not like entirely serious. And again, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really happy that people enjoyed it. Are you a feedee or feeder? Asks Official Lardass. As before, I'd like to say I'm kind of a little bit of a mix of both, but if we say that feedee and feeder were a spectrum, I'd say I was probably closer to feedee. What are some foods that you can eat a ton of that don't wreck your blood cholesterol levels for belly stuffing? Asks Thick. So this is a bit of a tricky one to answer because I've never really worried about my blood cholesterol, and I quite enjoy stuffing with sort of what one might consider unhealthy foods because they are delicious, effective, and I guess certain textured foods are just more exciting than others, such as like greasy food. That being said, I do really enjoy things like cashews, pistachios, peanuts, like any kind of nut really. I love those. Salted peanuts are good, salted cashews are good, chocolate peanuts. Did I mention how much I love chocolate peanuts? Ever wanted to film IRL stuff yet? Asks Spartan104. I would honestly kind of be open to it. I mean, never say never, but not yet. Ever had a person you'd want to see bigger? Art, talking, etc. Like one or, I don't know, few characters in the media? Asks Spartan104. So I'm not like a super big Genshin Impact fan. Like I've played it, I kind of enjoy the art style of it. But one of the ones that spring to mind is one that I was discussing recently on Discord. For those unaware, they released a quote chubby character called Varessa, but as you can see from this artwork, that's no chubby character. She needs at least 200 more pounds. That being said, Goddess of Victory Nikkei released a chubby character called Brady, and check her out. 10 out of 10, no notes. Mwah, perfect. Actual weight, and what do you think about immobility? Asks Marmeo. So this is a bit of a boring answer because of various reasons, but I'll make it a little more interesting for you all. My peak weight was 340 pounds, and I was a UK dress size 28, which is a US dress size 24. And what do I think about immobility? Again, that's a bit of a tricky one. While the thought of it is incredibly hot, it's just not practical in real life. While I'd love to just be this massive immobile blob just stuffing my face 24 hours a day, I have a job, I have bills, I have taxes, so while I'll happily get close to it, I'd rather avoid like actual immobility. Alexi asks, besides making these YouTube videos, what do you do in your day-to-day life? Do you have a job? If so, what is it? And what are some of your interests or hobbies? Well, besides this, I do have a full-time job that keeps me busy. I work in the IT sector, but I'm not going to get like any more specific just for privacy. It's busy and stressful, but it pays the bills. Aside from working and making videos, I like to collect trading cards and I like to play video games. Stumbles Magoo asks, out of all the weight gain / feedism scenarios you've read or seen, which would you say is your favourite? Now, this is a really tough one because I've seen and read like so many and so many good ones as well. But honestly, I have to say A Soft Winter Morning, one of my recent videos, has to be up there just because of how like romantic and sensual it is. I also really love Never Come Back just because of how matter of fact it is. In terms of comics, I think my favourite is gonna have to be couple stuff, just from like the writing, the art style, everything about that is just so good. Nope asks, how did you find out about Feedism / core memory of being in the community? Your voice is nice and calming. Thank you so much, Nope. In terms of finding the Feedism community, it kind of found me in a way. Like, I've always found fatness to be attractive, and eventually that kind of led me to realising the idea of me myself being fat was attractive. But I guess I made a Twitter, back when it was Twitter, to find like-minded people and follow certain plus-size models and artists, and I guess from there I fell into the community. I don't know I have any sort of core memories. Thinking back, one of the oldest memories I have is sitting in my old university room on a Friday afternoon after classes had ended about midday-ish and just stuffing myself with Cheetos, bubblegum soda and donuts while I scrolled through Phoebe of all places. Spartan104 asks, favourite place to grow aside from belly? Breasts. 100% breast expansion is just so hot to me. Like the idea of my breast expanding along with the belly, Ooh, yeah, love it. Spartan104 asks, favourite clothes? I really like crop tops and I wear a lot of cargo pants as well. Cargo pants are really comfy, I love comfort, but they're also super practical because a million pockets. Literal Fish asks, favourite movie or film? Okay, that's a really difficult one because there are a ton of movies that I really enjoy, but not like one that I'd say that I liked more than the others. I'll go ahead and I'll say something a little controversial. I really love the Twilight series. Now, hear me out, because I know the internet love to hate Twilight, but when it came out, I was the target demographic, teenage girls, because I was a 13-year-old girl when it came out. So, for that reason, I have a lot of love for it, even though I do appreciate it's not incredible. Spartan104 asks, favourite game or streamer? My favourite game is another really difficult one to answer because I've played a lot of games that I've really enjoyed, but then yeah, not one that I would particularly say was better than any other. Typically I really like casual games that I can kind of hop in and out of quite easily, especially if I've got a lot of stuff going on. I can, hop on for a couple of minutes and then hop off whenever I choose to. So I like things like Roblox just because there's a lot of variety and I can just hop in and out. I don't need to be locked into a game for hours. And for the same reasons I really like Tower Unite. My favourite streamer has got to be Squirrel Girl DGT, also known as Gwen. For those unaware, she's a weight gain VTuber over on Twitch. I'll leave her a link below just because she's great fun and I really enjoy her content. Official Lardass asks, where is the accent from? I can't tell if you're a fellow Brit or not. I am from England, but I have a bit of a weird accent. I grew up in the south and then moved to the north where I've lived for the past 10 years. So certain words are a little bit southern sounding, others a little bit northern sounding. Squirrel Girl DGT asks, what is your credit card number and the 3 numbers on the back? Now, you should know that I would only ever give these numbers to John Wick and only if he needed my help in Tilted Towers. Gwen then goes on to ask, what are some aspects of dubbing that you feel you've improved on since you began? Honestly, voice acting. I think I'm still a little wooden and a bit rough in places, but I can definitely hear an improvement between some of my older stuff and some of my more recent stuff. She then adds, what are some aspects you'd like to improve on in future? Again, I think voice acting, I think I've improved a lot, but I think I've still got a long way to go. That aside, I think I'd like to add more Foley and background noises just to really immerse the listener into the world. Will you ever do your very good and accurate Scottish accent in a dub or story? Asks Squirrel Girl DGT. Don't tempt me. For those unaware, my Scottish accent is awful. I cannot do it. I'll spare you all from it, but it's a bit of an inside joke. She then goes on to ask, are there any creators in the space you'd like to collaborate with? Yeah, there's a few I'd like to collaborate with. One is called Squirrel Girl DGT. I'm sure you're familiar with her. What equipment and programs do you use for your videos? Asks Gwen. I have a Blue Snowball microphone for the audio. I use Audacity to record and Adobe Premiere Pro to edit. As for making thumbnails, typically I tend to collect either my own photos, like photos of me, or stock images from the internet, and then I'll apply an oilify tool in GIMP. That's how I do the thumbnails. Huntress Cody asks, what made you realise you had a fat fetish? Was it a show, movie, something online? So it's a bit of an awkward one to answer because there was no one clear moment that really sticks out to me. I've always found myself attracted to larger ladies and found big bellies really sexy, but I never really thought about becoming a big girl myself. That kind of changed when I discovered Feedism online. I think it must have started from looking at larger women on Tumblr and stuff, like back in 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And I guess fell down the rabbit hole of gaining weight on purpose and realised that not only could I admire fat women, I could become one. Cody goes on to ask, do you want to work with other artists or voice actors in future projects? Yeah, definitely. I love the idea of working with others to make something a little more immersive. Also, it just seems like a really fun idea to collaborate. As much as I love making these myself, I appreciate that there are things lacking, like when I have to do all the voices myself. Also, I'd like to make something maybe a little larger scale one day involving artists, like a cartoon or my own comic would be cool. Huntress Cody then asks, how often do you think you'll do personally written work, or even potentially request work to be made specifically for your audio work? Honestly, I really like the idea of getting back into writing things. Jim Gaines is the first thing I ever wrote, and I wrote it 3 years ago. Haven't written anything since, but with how well it's been received and honestly how much fun it was to video and record and everything, I might consider doing so soon. Thick asks, how to belly stuff without roommates or family you live with asking WTF are you doing, where did the food go? I think when it comes to stuffing, you need to be buying your own food. It's just going to be rude and disrespectful to eat all of your roommate's food, for example. You've just got to provide your own snacks. Squirrel Girl DGT asks, what kind of stories do you wish there were more of, either for you to read or your own personal enjoyment? Now, I really like stories that are grounded in reality because I much prefer realism to fantasy elements, just because I find it easier to relate to and it's something that I can understand and could happen in real life. Also, when I read stories, both for fun and for the channel, I prefer them to either be like solo perspective or solo female perspective, or like sapphic in some way. Gwen then goes on to ask, if you were to redesign the fat fetish flag, what would you make it look like? That's a tough one. I'm not sure, to be honest. I think a few years ago, Squirrel DGT herself did make some fat fetish flags where she incorporated various different pride flags. I really like those. I'll link those actually in the description if anybody wants to check those out. And last but not least, we have a question from Blambo Schlim, which is, how did you come up with the name Gothy Gremmy? So back in my old house, I had my computer set up in this corner, which had a sloped ceiling. Essentially, it felt like I was being boxed in on 3 sides, like wall, ceiling over the top, quite low. So it was like I was being boxed into a corner. From that, I chose the DeviantArt username Gremlin Corner because I was like this little gremlin lady who lived in the corner. And I guess from there I abbreviated it down, dropped the corner aspect, and since I'm a goth, added gothy, and boom, Gothy Gremmy. And those were all the questions. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed my answers, and let me know if I should do another one of these. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, why not subscribe for more Feedism content? Also join my Discord community, link in the description.